Hello, I am Carly Hammock Murray, and today we will be conducting the exploding sandwich bag experiment. So, the exploding sandwich bag experiment is between two different types of matter. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. There's different types of matter. They could be a solid or a liquid, depending on the temperature. And matter has measurable types of properties. So today we are going to analyze and collect data through observations of different types of matter and see what happens when two types of matter are added together to see if they have a chemical reaction and create a new substance. If there's a physical reaction, that is not a new substance, just so you know. So, first things first, we are going to go over our safety procedures. So, always have an adult present if you're in the classroom or if you're at home when conducting science experiments. Always wear correct, proper safety equipment. Today, I'm going to be wearing glasses just in case some of this splashes into our eyes. Also, for this experiment, we are going to need a sandwich bag, a paper towel, some pure baking soda, we're using Arm & Hammer, some measuring tools, I have a tablespoon and a half cup, and some good old-fashioned vinegar. So during this lesson, you should be able to plan and conduct an investigation to describe and classify different types of materials by their observable properties. You should also be able to conduct an investigation to determine whether mixing two or more properties or substances together results in a new substance. So those are your learning goals for today. A learning activity that I would use to teach related vocabulary to this lesson would be a vocabulary album. So before this lesson had started, I would take pictures of every single item that we were using so that students can take the word bank and match each thing up with their associated words. So for this, we might have example, a substance or matter, depending on how students would classify this in their vocabulary book. So to begin our experiment, we're going to put on our glasses just to make sure we're nice and safe. I also have a bowl that I'm going to use to put my exploding bag in. You can also do this outside and on the ground or put it in a trash can if you would like. So you can see my workspace. I also have a towel down just to make sure if I spill anything, it doesn't get on my table. So we are going to start actually with observing our baking soda first. So in our books, we're also going to have our observation notes. We're going to use our tablespoon measuring spoon to put our baking soda out on our paper towel. So while we're scooping this, we can make observations and notes about what the baking soda looks like. So looking at it right now, it looks like a fine powder. You can feel it also. It's very soft. You can feel the little granules. And it is white. So all of that should be written down in your observation notes. So you want to put 4 to 6 tablespoons onto your napkin. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now that we have already done our observation of this, and we can look at it at our baking soda, make sure you maybe draw a picture or take a picture of it to add to your book, and also make sure you make all observable notes about what it actually looks like. So now we are going to fold our baking soda into a little package that we're going to save for later. So I'm going to fold it into a package. It doesn't have to be a very neat package, but just needs to stay together so that it holds it together just like this. So we're gonna put that to the side. Now we're gonna get our bowl out because we are going to take our plastic bag, open it up, and we are going to fill our plastic bag with our vinegar. So we're gonna do a whole cup. Right here I have a measuring spoon for a half cup, so I'm gonna do 2 of these. While we're doing this, you can also make observable notes about the vinegar. So the way it smells maybe, the way it looks, the way maybe how heavy it is, anything you want to make observable notes about. So that is a whole cup. I'm going to go ahead and seal the bag because I'm not just yet ready to put it in because I want to make more observations about my vinegar. So going ahead, I'm going to pick it up now that the bag is closed. I'm looking at it. Vinegar is pretty clear. I can see my hands through the plastic bag. I'm looking around. The substance it gives off a smell. Kind of smells like pickles, to be honest. And it looks like water in a plastic bag if I didn't know it was vinegar. So those are my observations. I'm going to go ahead and go write those down in my observation notes. And now I am going, after I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and open this and conduct the experiment. So remember, we have a white powdery substance that has small granules in this napkin. We're going to stick it into our vinegar. Our vinegar is clear right now. There's nothing else in it. It looks like a bag full of water, but we know it's vinegar. So when we do this, we're going to put the bag in. When we drop the bag in, we're going to close the Ziploc up as fast as possible. So here we go. Make sure it's nice and sealed. In the back, we have a pop. As you can see, there is foam still coming out of it. That is the chemical reaction between the two, between baking soda and vinegar. We had a nice pop. So what does that mean for us? So during this experiment, once we put the baking soda in, we noticed that our bag very quickly began to fill up with air. This air happens to be carbon dioxide gas. So carbon dioxide gas filled up the plastic bag, causing the bag to expand and eventually pop. So a few things that I would like you to do is that when thinking of this experiment, and this is a higher order thinking question, is to think, how does this relate to nature? There's some ways that maybe this experiment could be conducted in different ways. So how could you think of something that happens in nature that you could show when using this experiment in the chemical reaction between between baking soda and vinegar? So one example is you could have done a volcano. So an exploding volcano, when you add the vinegar to the baking soda, it would cause it to explode. That is a natural phenomenon in our natural world. So go ahead and think about one of those. Also, one thing that I would like to mention is an informal assessment that I would look for when conducting this lesson is seeing what students do in their vocabulary book, along with the pictures, using the vocabulary correctly when making their observations, mentioning their vocabulary during their observations. I would also look and see how students are using their personal protective gear, their PPEs, and also just seeing how students conduct themselves while doing the experiment. Are we able to conduct an experiment and investigate, or are we messing around and goofing around? Those are two big things that we want to make sure that we are getting the fullest potential out of our science experiments and not just messing around, especially with an exploding bag, which is a lot of fun. Also, one thing is just looking at their science labs, their science write-ups, their hypothesis, anything that they would add to this experiment in writing would also be a good indicator of how to assess how they did during the science experiment. Thank you. Have a great day, and hope you enjoy your exploding bags.